Here we go, Falcons fans. Welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. We're going to talk a little bit of Dirty Birds off-season football. Obviously, Arthur Blank spoke to the media today, his little end-of-the-year press conference, where he touched on everything from the firing of Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot to basically the coaching search, and he talked a little bit about Michael Penix Jr. I tuned in for the entire thing on YouTube. Maybe you saw me there for a brief time. But before we get started, here's what I'm going to ask you to do. If you are ready for a brand new era of Falcons football, do me a favor and smash that thumbs up icon. If you've hit that thumbs up icon and you want a shout out, type me in the live chat down below. Only if you've hit that thumbs up icon and only if you want a shout out. I'm giving shout outs to the loyal ones that are here on a random Thursday right after Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot get let go. It's going to be an unreal live show. Arc Angel coming in first with his me's. Will White saying me. Dogs all day. JLK, what up? Your name's John saying me. I go. What's good, my guy? Good to see you. The Bright Wolf's in here. Philip is in here. Caden is in here. Getting our first super chat of the day. That's going to be important because we've got some happy hour deals that we want to share with y'all. Jason is in here. J5 is in here. Young is in here. Matthew, Julian, Atlanta Edits, Robin Hood. It's good to see y'all. Get your me's going down below. 2021 World Series champ KJ. Thoughts about Matt LaFleur as head coach or his brother Mike if the Packers keep him? I'd like to see McDaniel as OC and keep Ulbrich as DC. There's a lot to unpack here. I do not hate Matt LaFleur coming back to Atlanta at all. But here's what I will say. If that game is close in Chicago, even if the Packers lose, I don't think they fire him. I think they give him one more year. If they get blown out, so that's kind of what you got to hope for then. If you're a Falcons fan that wants Matt LaFleur to come back, you're going to have to basically hope the Bears blow him out. That's the only way that he would come back as the Falcons head coach, is if they got blown out and embarrassed by the Bears and the Packers just said, let's move on. However, the second part of it, I don't hate Mike McDaniel as an OC with Ulbrich as the DC, only because guess who was scheduled to interview with the Atlanta Falcons as of like 45 minutes ago? Robert Saleh. And Robert Saleh had Jeff Ulbrich as his defensive coordinator when they were in New York together. If you had Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel, and Jeff Ulbrich as your staff, that's a pretty damn good staff. That's a pretty damn good staff. By the way, if you want your question answered today, you've got to make sure you put it in super chat form. We have grown significantly over the last week. I'm expecting a lot of people to be in here. So if you want your question answered specifically by us here at Chat Sports and Falcons Today, producer Reed, everybody boo Reed! Boo! If you guys want your question answered, the best way for me to see it and to answer your question and give you the time that you so rightly deserve is to send in a super chat. But it goes beyond that. We've got – what's up? We do love Reed, but also boo Reed, taking that Tampa Bay Buccaneers breakdown job. But do me a favor, if you want to get in on the happy hour deals, we've got some great happy hour deals ready for you today. I cooked this up with Reed because we're feeling like, hey – there's a college football game on tonight. We're rooting against Ole Miss as always. So if you send in a $5 super chat, we'll have some sips. We'll answer your questions. If you send in a $20 super chat, we'll take some shots and talk about your question. If you send in a $50 super chat, Reed and I are both going to rip a beer bong. And then if you get us to $500 on today's live stream, we'll do a beer boot. I'll do a beer boot. Live right here on the show. I'm feeling zesty. I'm feeling good. I do need a drink. I need a Happy Dad if we have any, or Miller Lite. Donovan, what's up, dude? I'll answer your question in just a second. Before we do that, though, JK coming in saying, please don't leave us. Guys, at least for right now, I am still the Chat Sports host for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm still the Falcons Today host. I have not been told that I'm leaving anytime soon. That is something that my bosses and I will discover after the NFL season is over, after the Super Bowl ends. We'll sit down in a room. We'll talk about the plan moving forward. So you got me for at least another month, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Yeah, I might be back next season. We have no idea yet. But appreciate your $5 super chat, JK. I would love to stay. Donovan Dory, how you feeling, man? Feeling a little bit better today, my guy. I've got this nagging headache. I don't have the stuffiness or the sore throat that I had, but this headache will not go away. But I appreciate you asking. Also, why is Zach still here? He's not going to be, guys. He's not. Matt Ryan being president of operations. I love Matt Ryan. I think Matt's going to make an excellent addition to this front office if he's hired. I would say that there's a short list of quarterbacks and now NFL personnel that have a football mind quite like Matt Ryan. So I would not be upset at all if we hired him. Zach Robinson's going to be gone. Okay, he lost his job when Raheem lost his job. It just technically hasn't happened yet. Appreciate it. I'm going to take a couple of sips here of my ice-cold piss water, Miller Lite. Ooh, that's not good at all. I don't like Miller Lite, but you know what? I made a promise, and that promise is to get rowdy, rough and rowdy with these Falcons fans. So if we get there, I'm drinking. Archangel, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. If they did, great. And if I had any influence in that, it happens. It happens. He says, I honestly think they read your letter. If in case you're new here and you don't know what he's talking about, I emailed the Atlanta Falcons about 2 months ago. It was right after they lost was it the Jets game? Something around there. It was either the Jets game or it was one of those games that maybe it was the Patriots game. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, I emailed the Falcons and I basically told them, you guys suck as an operation. Get better. And basically since then, it kind of has. So I'm happy with the moves that we've made recently, and I will continue to support this team as long as they make the right moves. You got to make the right moves, Arthur Blank, and right now you definitely are. Aaron, coming in with the $5 super chat. Thank you for the $5. That's a little sipper for me. God, it's so... I hate Miller Lite. You could jump on the mic, Reed, and talk to our Falcons fans again as you so rightfully betrayed us. And I say rightfully because it was an excellent opportunity for you. I'm glad you took it.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, everybody, give him the booze.
You can give me the booze.
Give him the booze.
It's okay.
But you guys made a move today as well. You guys fired your...
like 7 moves.
Yeah, you guys fired your OC, special teams coordinator, and QB coach.
And a bunch of assistants, too. Just a whole
clean slate.
Grand Limousine. What's up,
Appreciate it, Cody. I'm going to take a little sip for you.
Christian, appreciate that. JK said, boo. Love you, Reed. Shout out to you guys. Ark.
Yeah, look.
Ark, I'm sorry, man.
We talked about, so here's some insider information for you guys. Reed and I were talking about this. This was something that I feel like has been in the works for a little while now. And Reed used to ask me, he's like, do you think this is the right thing? Like, I'm really excited about this. And I was like, dude, if you get a chance to host your own show, you got to take it. Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be fun. I don't hate the Falcons.
No,
it's
of course not.
I've never hated the Falcons or anything. I'm technically still the Falcons producer. I'm also Buccaneers host.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. All right, I'll tell you what.
Oh, Ark, appreciate that, man. Shout out to you guys.
We're gonna answer some more super chats here in a second, but I'll tell you what. Somebody sends in a $20 super chat right now. I'll rip my first beer bong of the day and get this party started because I'm ready to have some fun. I think I might go, and you're invited to this, Reed, by the way. I might go to the Donkey to watch that Ole Miss game tonight and have a drink or two because they take on Indiana. I think, is it Indiana or is it Oregon? Who's the other team in this?
I'm going to let you try and figure it out.
Am I stupid?
Come on.
No. Ole Miss, Indiana.
You know exactly who it is, too.
Oh, Miami. Yeah, it's Miami. God damn it. Yeah, okay, even more so over. Honestly, it's a bad situation for Moose because I hate Miami, but I don't like Ole Miss either. I got to go with the Falcons fans on this one. I would probably say if I had to root for one of these teams, I'd probably go the Hurricanes because I'm not happy with what they did to the Bulldogs. Not happy at all. Somebody sends in a 20. I'll rip my first beer bong of the night. Let's get rowdy today, boys. Let's get rowdy today. Cody saying, "Go Moo." Is that JD Vance?
Yeah, remember?
I freaking love that photo.
Yeah, he was in the watch party. I think
I've seen his name before,
either
but
the Bucks watch party or the other watch party where I remember being like, I go, Cody. Is that JD Vance?
See, and here's the thing: is like I recognize the name, but you know how many people we see on a watch party? Like we get thousands of people. I can't remember all of them, but this is funny.
It was the Saints one.
Yeah. Okay. Is that when you guys were making fun of my height? When everybody was saying that I was like 3 feet tall? That was funny.
Oh, that's a good one.
All right. Next super chat coming in. Dossier Gaming. 1 to 10, how optimistic are you after the press conference? I thought Blank said a lot of essentially coach speak, but owner speak, I guess is the best way you could put this. I didn't expect him to pull anything off of his chest, kept his cards close to his chest, said all the things he needed to say, said the right things, talked up Raheem and Terry and said how great of guys they were, but ultimately that it was time to move on. So I actually appreciated his honesty. And I know that was hard for him as somebody who is self-proclaimed very close to both of those individuals. He said they weren't giving us what we needed from them. And that's a tough thing to say. And as a man, that's all you can kind of own up to is like, look, I got to be completely honest. Like, love these two dudes. They weren't doing a good job. And that's part of the business. That's part of owning your own football team.
Some NFL news.
Yeah, what's up?
Sources say, this is from Jordan Schultz. Sources say, former Commanders OC Cliff Kingsbury will interview with the Ravens and the Titans for head coach position.
Good. I don't want him anywhere near the Falcons.
Yeah.
I don't want Cliff Kingsbury near the Falcons. No. No. If you basically want Zach Robinson 2.0, it's Cliff Kingsbury. I'm not even joking. Cliff Kingsbury is Zach Robinson 2.0. He's so gimmicky, collegey, fast-paced, shotgun pistol. It's terrible. It just so happens that he got Jaden Daniels, and that's why. That's why it worked. JB, how do you think our off-season free agency goes? I'm going to save the back half of this one for later because we're going to be talking about it in our mailbag. We've got some free agency talk, but I do believe the Falcons are going to get ultra aggressive in free agency considering the restructuring of Kirk's contract. That at least indicates to me the Falcons really want to go heavy in free agency in day 1 and day 2. So I'd be expecting a big name. You might see a big name and then a couple other smaller names, but expect one massive name for the Falcons to go over. So maybe somebody like George Pickens. I know you guys don't want George Pickens, but I'm talking about the name. I'm like big name. So honestly, David Njoku is one of those names I think the Falcons should go after. Think about this. If you moved Kyle Pitts out wide and basically made him a wide receiver, kind of like that hybrid tight end wide receiver, and made David Njoku your stereotypical tight end, that's crazy. That is a crazy crazy combo. Fayode? Is that how you say that? I'm going to say Faye. We're going to say Faye. Moose, couldn't have asked for a better host. Send this to your bosses and tell them we need you to stay. They watch. They watch all of the live shows pretty much. Maybe not every single live show, but they watch a lot. So You could tell him yourself in this super chat. I appreciate it, my friend. And we did get a $20 soup, so that means I'm ripping the beer bong ski coming your way in just a moment. Will White, that is a great name. This is like a NFL analyst name. Will White down on the sideline. Can we realistically land Harbaugh? We can. We can. We absolutely can. I will go out and say, realistically speaking, right now his number one choice is the Giants. But his number two option right now is either Miami or Atlanta. I would say his top three that he would even consider. Giants because of the brand, Miami because of the weather and the no state income tax, and Atlanta because of the roster and everything else. So we'll see. We will see. Appreciate it, Will, though. Thank you so much for getting in on it.
I think the only thing that brings the Dolphins down is they don't have a quarterback. Like, yes, they have a quarterback. But Tua got benched. Quinn Ewers, they don't have a solid
No,
plan.
you're right. No, you're right.
So that's going to hurt his interest in them a little bit.
No, I agree with you. The Tua thing is, unfortunately, I think Tua was at one point a promising quarterback. But like you said earlier before we got started, all the injuries, the concussions, and now his inability to throw in the cold just makes him one of those quarterbacks. You'll always wonder what if with Tua. And unfortunately, his NFL career is probably done. It's probably done. Answer a couple more here, and then we'll talk about what we've got coming up on today's show, because I've got 3 segments for you. Alex Watkins. My top choices are head coach Harbaugh, OC is McDaniels. I don't think you'll get either. I don't think you'll get both. I think you'll get either one of these in any capacity. So you could get Harbaugh, but if you get Harbaugh, he's bringing Monken. And then if you get McDaniels, it'll be as an OC, but he won't be the head coach, and it won't be Harbaugh. So take your pick. Gary, petition for Moose to stay for 2026. Love you, bro. Appreciate it, my guy. That is really nice words. I really do appreciate the kind stuff. You guys have been unbelievable towards me, and I cannot tell you how much this means. My family absolutely appreciate it. My wallet appreciates it, especially because having another channel here allows me to make more money, too, and I love covering the Falcons, so hopefully I get to stay. Gene, 20. Ollie becomes DC if Jeff leaves. Ollie? Ollie? Who's Ollie? Who are you talking about? Ollie? Hold on. This is going to bother me now. I'm going to feel really stupid. Nate Ollie? Who's Nate Ollie? Gotta be new. Nah. Plus, did you hear what we'll talk about what Blank said? We'll talk about what Blank said.
I think I wasn't even thinking about like Ollie. Like I thought you were talking about like a different head coach option, like or a different DC option, rather than on the roster, like on the team. Like I thought it was somebody else. Like I was like, first thing I thought I was like, who? Ollie Gordon?
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, Ollie, like, no. By the way, the Falcons' defensive line this year, especially against the run, was one of the worst parts of their game on defense. Just because they had a really good – the reason the Falcons' defense got so good and the blitz packages were so good is because they were ultra-aggressive, and that was rewarded in some exotic blitz packages. Plus, James Pierce Jr. ended up being amazing. So, no. And also – this is something that I actually agree with Colin Cowherd on because he says it all the time. You got to be really, really careful about hiring from within. Everybody wants to hire from within because it's somebody that's already on staff. It's a name we know. I think it's foolish to not explore outside options for any coaches. You don't just want to promote and hire from within. That's how organizational decay continues. I mean, look at Michigan. Look what happened with Michigan. You get Harbaugh leaves, whole cheating scandal with Connor Stallions, and then they get Sharon Moore in there, And all of a sudden, boom, Sharon Moore's out now because of his own cheating scandal, although it's a different kind of cheating scandal. So I just think, like, you got to be careful about promoting from within. You got to be careful with that. All right. What do we got coming up on today's show there, Producer Reed? What is that one? Oh, having Reed here is like having a date night with my ex-wife. I love you and I hate you. That is kind of funny. It is like you're having dinner as a family with your kids and your ex-wife is sitting across from you and you're like, this feels weird. It's like you're in my life, but you're not in my life. I don't know how frequently you're going to be doing Falcons lives anymore and Falcons watch parties. You know what I mean? Because at that point, like, you can't root for the Falcons anymore. You've got to be your Bucks. You got to be your own man and do your own Bucks thing. All right, I need to get my beer bong going. Yeah, let's do that. I'll message someone and you sure? All right. I'll rip this beer bong and we'll get started. If you want to put up our list 3 about what we've got coming up on today's show, I'll talk a little bit about that. Oh, sorry, list 4. Oh, no, that's our happy hour. We're talking about the list 3 for today's show. What we've got coming up. There we go. Breaking news cut is what I like to call it because we talked a little bit about Arthur Blank already, but we're going to kind of deep dive into what I believe is Arthur Blank kind of breaking his silence on this entire coaching staff. And he opened up some eyes today. He opened up my eyes a little bit in what he actually thought of Raheem and Terry, not on a personal level, but on a professional level. He just knew it wasn't good enough. And then, of course, Mike McDaniel, he got fired today. So now the question becomes, do you want to bring Mike McDaniel to Atlanta? And then mailbag, #Falcons or Super Chat. So if you want your question answered, send in a super or #Falcons is the best way to do that. 542 people in the building. If we could get up to 200 likes, we'll start the show. Once we hit 200 likes, we'll start the show. You guys, I know everybody's sitting here saying Nate Ollie, but it's like, dude, do we really want to hire from within? Do we really just want to, how about we just clean slate it? You know what I mean? And also, Arthur Blank said that he was a big fan of Jeff Ulbrich. Do it when the Bucks play the Falcons. Ooh, that's not a bad idea, Alex. That is not a bad idea. Grand Limousine, Atlanta. Why are you banned from super chatting? I've never heard of that before. 200 likes. We just hit it, and as soon as Reed gets back here, I'm going to rip that beer bong, and we'll get started. Eagles for life. You have an Eagles fan here who loves your show. Appreciate it, man. I'm not going to say go Birds, but I hope you guys do well. I hope you guys do well. Thank you, sir. Ah, the Freedom Funnel. Drinking beer out of a bird's butt. All right, here we go. Three, two, one. Cold and gross. I hate Miller Lite. I've never been a Miller Lite fan. I've always been a Busch Light guy. If I'm drinking light beer, I'm drinking Busch Light. I'm a Busch drinker. All right. No, I get it. Rusty Moore. Again, I told you, I don't know that I'm leaving yet. Nobody has talked about us leaving yet. So as of right now, we're staying. As of right now, we're looking good. Miller Lite is trash. Thank you, Caden. Everybody talking about staying. Moose, you leaving too. First Petey, now Moosey. My heart can't take it. No. Not quite. Not quite. We're still rocking and rolling here on Falcons Today, so don't worry about it. All right, let's do this. We're going to talk about Arthur Blank breaking his silence about today's or during today's press conference and what he had to say about Raheem, what he had to say about Terry, ultimately Michael Penix Jr., and the state of the Falcons going on in 2026. We're going to jump into that pretty much ASAP. So as soon as you're ready, Producer Reed, I will jump in there with you. Sounds good to me. Booyah. Today was the day that Arthur Blank broke his silence about the 2025 Atlanta Falcons and basically where the team was and why he decided to fire Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot. Now, we have heard a couple of times some rumblings and some quick quotes from Arthur Blank, but this was truly the first time that we got the full 25 to 30-minute experience with Arthur Blank going into why he decided to do what he did. So, Falcons fans, welcome into Falcons Today. On this episode, I'm going to talk to you about what Arthur Blank said in his press conference today, and he answered pretty much every question about the Falcons' recent moves. And those three can kind of be summed up in this kind of order. Blank talked about the decision to fire Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris. He answered questions about Michael Penix Jr. and the future of the Falcons quarterback. And he discussed the coaching and front office roles heading into this coaching and GM search. Let's start with the first thing that he said. He talked about Raheem. He talked about Terry. His exact quote was, "I didn't think those two gentlemen, as good people as they are, were providing the kind of leadership required to get us to the next level." And this is the first time in perhaps 6 or 7 months that I really was like, thank you for acknowledging the elephant in the room. That is 100% accurate, Mr. Blank. I have been very critical of Raheem Morris. I've been very critical of Terry Fontenot. I have never, ever once said that they weren't good men or they weren't good people. They were not good coaches and they were not good GMs. And that's just kind of where we stand on it. And maybe good GM is kind of harsh because Terry Fontenot, I feel like, not all of it was his fault, but you have 5 straight seasons where you don't make the playoffs or have a winning record, somebody's going to point the finger at you. Here's the exact full quote that Arthur Blank actually said about everybody. "We were not achieving the level of this roster was capable of performing at. I thought that we were capable of getting to another level. I represent the fans. I've said many times I consider myself as the custodian of the franchise for the fans." I think that's kind of funny, believe it or not. But in the last 1 month, so let's just go back to the last 28 to 32 days. Call it right in the middle of 30 days. Arthur Blank has done a lot for the Atlanta Falcons, and I will give him a lot of credit for this. All of these things seem to be very, very positive or encouraging signs that we are on the right track. We filed for new uniforms. That's just a fan thing. We ended on a 4-game winning streak. That's always positive. We announced that Matt Ryan is coming back, or so we think so far. Sweeping the Saints is always great, and of course they fired Raheem and Terry Fontenot. All 5 of these moves indicate to me that there is a plan, a progression to make this team look, feel, and ultimately operate on a more successful basis day to day. And Arthur Blank said it himself. I shouldn't have to be involved in the day-to-day process. He's absolutely right. Owning a football team does not mean meddling in the day-to-day. But obviously, when you kind of neglect the day-to-day or you hire the people that are supposed to run it day-to-day and they don't do a good enough job, you have to step in now as the leader and the owner and say, now I have to put the people in charge that are going to do the right thing, because ultimately that's an indictment on me. So as of right now, my trust level in Arthur Blank is at like a 4 out of 5. It's pretty good. I would say out of 10, it's probably an 8. He's doing the right things right now. And the key word right here is right now. If you would have asked me 3 months ago, I probably would have been a lot lower on this scale. But recent developments, new information, new news. Obviously, we have a lot coming in. Before we continue on with what Arthur Blank had to say, I've got to tell you about my friends over at Poly Market. It's time to challenge the status quo, and Poly Market is now live to help us do so. You can be a part of the revolutionary alternative to sports books with our special invite code. Download Poly Market's new app now via the special link that is in the description and the comments to unlock exclusive early access and a free $10 in your account with invite code chat. That is invite code chat. Now, as you can see currently to my right, this is what the app looks like in real time. Super user-friendly and absolutely makes watching the game that much more effective and fun. Poly Market is a prediction marketplace that lets you make trades on the outcomes of sporting events. It's legal and available nationwide in 50 states on their brand new iOS app now. Poly Market has the lowest fees ever, and you can trade against other people, not the platform, and you can cash out anytime and react to momentum swings within the game. You are in control. $10 free is waiting for you. No card, no deposit, nothing. Download the app and unlock $10 free through the link, chatsports.com/polymarket, and invite code chat. Obviously, Rams, Carolina. I'm taking the Rams on this one because no NFC South team outside of the Falcons is actually worth that. $10 free is waiting for you. No card, no deposit, nothing. Download the app with our exclusive code chat at chatsports.com/polymarket for exclusive early access and $10 free. So Arthur Blank goes on to talk a little bit about Michael Penix Jr.'s future with the team. And this was probably one of the most telling things I've heard Arthur Blank say, because he did get very candid. He talked a little bit about Matt Ryan because everybody was kind of dancing around the question, oh, is this going to be a president of football operations? He's like, are you talking about Matt Ryan? And he just kind of called them out on their BS. But then he actually spoke about Michael Penix Jr., and there was a lot of belief in MPJ. Here was the full quote that Arthur Blank had on Michael Penix Jr. I do think that Michael is our franchise quarterback. That in and of itself is a big-time statement right there. The injury he sustained was on his other knee. The surgeon felt 1,000% secure in the medical procedure. They felt his knee would be better than before. All right, I'm going to take a quick little TV timeout here. I have a little bit of pause in this last statement. And the reason I say that is because what do you mean, like the other knee and everything? Like it just, there's a lot of unclearness around this statement because he's trying to make it sound like that the injury is not a concerning thing because it's not on the knee that he propels forward with. And fine, but also he also knows that this is the 5th season-ending surgery that Penix has had in 8 years. So if you're saying that this is not a concerning injury, you must be talking about that injury specifically, not his knees in general, which have just been absolutely obliterated. So here's what I want to do. I want to break down Penix versus Kirk and Penix versus another NFC South quarterback that I believe is more accurately and more fairly compared to. Because you could make the argument looking at these numbers that you can't compare Kirk and Penix because they're apples and oranges. Kirk is a finished product. Michael Penix Jr. is in the early days of his NFL career. You cannot compare the two of them because if you were to compare the two of them, it's almost identical. And then at that point, I'd be saying, why wouldn't you just go with Kirk given how much money you paid for him, if that makes sense? So I decided, okay, if I can't compare Kirk and I can't compare Penix, I've got to compare Penix to somebody that he's more comparable with. So there you go, Tyler Shuck. I want you to notice something here, guys. They started the same amount of games. Tyler Shuck had a better record. He threw for more touchdowns. Now, granted, Penix threw for less interceptions. Shuck had a better passer rating. He had more passing yards, and he had a better completion percentage. So for anybody who was sitting there and defending Penix and slamming Tyler Shuck, the only reason you're doing it is because he's a Saints player. Tyler Shuck had a better year than Michael Penix did. And that's not debatable. The numbers don't lie in that. The only difference is that the Falcons are a better team talent-wise than the Saints. I don't have a problem, Arthur Blank, with your cornerstone of belief in Michael Penix. If you want to say that Penix is the quarterback for next season, that's fine. You drafted him. You own the team that drafted him. You probably have at least still some, like I said, cornerstone of belief there. But doesn't the coach also have a say in the quarterback operations, right? Now that you've gotten rid of Raheem and you've gotten rid of Zach and Marquise and Terry, don't you think that the new president of football operations, GM, and new head coach will all get into a room at some point and talk about Michael Penix Jr. and if he's the future of this franchise? Because I got news for you. Even though you're the owner of the team, if everybody comes to you and says Penix isn't the guy, what are you going to say? No, we drafted him. We have to play him? I don't think so. And there is a bit of a Penix problem right now. First of all, he was stunted by the development of Zach Robinson because Zach Robinson was inept at play calling, and he had no idea how to develop a young quarterback. This is the 5th season-ending surgery in 8 seasons. You can't deny that Penix has an injury issue. And the lack of traditional under-center play is definitely a big red flag to a lot of NFL coaches, specifically the ones that are offensive-minded play callers. They want someone that has the mobility to roll outside of the pocket. No, you don't need to be Lamar Jackson. No, you don't need to be Josh Allen or Caleb Williams with your mobility. But you have to be able to move more than Jared Goff, and you've got to be able to move more than Kirk and Penix, because all 3 of those guys are probably the least mobile in the entire NFL. So the ultimate question becomes now, if you're a Falcons fan, will the next head coach want Michael Penix Jr.? That's the question. So depending on who you bring in and depending on what kind of coach they are, that's going to be the first question that they address. It's not going to be the draft. It's not going to be free agency. It's what are we going to do with Michael Penix Jr.? And if you're basing your coach off of Michael Penix Jr., that's a problem. Your quarterback, unless they are a God-given talent like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Joe Burrow, should not be tailored to the quarterback. He should be focused on making the team better, not just the quarterback. There is a difference because if you took Josh Allen off the Bills, they'd suck. If you took Joe Burrow off the Bengals, they suck. If you took Caleb off the Bears, they probably suck. So all of these insane talents are different. Michael Penix Jr. was not a world-class talent like Patrick Mahomes was or Josh Allen was. We thought he was going to be very serviceable from within the pocket, somebody that could deliver the ball on time and on target and lead this team that was already chock full of talent. So it's all going to depend on the coach. And speaking of coaches, last part of today's episode, Arthur Blank talked about John Harbaugh, and he said he will certainly be a candidate that we would like to spend some time with. Now, whether he'd want to come to Atlanta, I don't know. Of course, he's going to say that he doesn't know if he wants to come to Atlanta because John Harbaugh came out recently via his agent and said, I'm not taking any single interview until next week. I'm just allowing this process to go where it goes. But there's a lot of people, including all the fans, that got down in the comments section of yesterday's video, and they said they believe it's going to be Kevin Stefanski. And I'm here to tell you right now that Kevin Stefanski is an upgrade over Raheem Morris. It's a very low bar, but that is the truth. Kevin Stefanski is a better head coach than Raheem Morris, so automatically it would be an upgrade. Is it the guy that I want more than anything in the world? Of course not. I do not want Kevin Stefanski as my first choice, or hell, even my second choice. Here, speaking of my choices, here are my choices for head coach as of right now. If you had to ask Moose, rank your top 4 choices for next Falcons head coach, I'd go John Harbaugh, Clint Kubiak, Kevin Stefanski, and then I'd go Brian Flores. Now, Brian Flores was higher on this list until John Harbaugh became available. So I had Clint Kubiak as my number 1 choice, and then I had a combo of Brian Flores and a couple other guys, but Kevin Stefanski, I do believe, is probably a better coach right now than Brian Flores is, and John Harbaugh is obviously better than everybody. So that's why I have Brian Flores down as far as I do. But I will admit to everybody that is a Kevin Stefanski hater, I get it. He went 45 and 56 over his 6 seasons as the head coach of the Browns. Now in 2020 and in 2023, he won head coach of the year. You don't just win that out of, nowhere. But I do believe the main reason that Kevin Stefanski lost his job this year was not because of their record. It's because of how he handled the quarterback situation for the Browns. He butchered it. Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, Sanders. You had 4 options. None of them you got right. Hell, you traded the first 2. You traded Flacco to Cincinnati, and you traded Kenny Pickett to the Raiders. So then you were left with 5'8" Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, who you probably should have played from the very beginning, but because of the attitude and because of the stigma around Shedeur, you were like, nope, we're not going to do that shit. So he just completely wrecked the situation, and I think that's exactly why all the Browns fans turned on him and why his ownership turned on him. So final thoughts before we walk away from this, just on Kevin Stefanski and the coaching situation. Why would Kevin Stefanski want to come back to a situation where he has more quarterback controversy with an injury-prone player? Right? Like, why would he want to jump into the Falcons organization and say, yep, I'm ready to take on more quarterback controversy news? Because I can guarantee you, not a single Falcons fan is going to go into this 2026 season thinking that Michael Penix Jr. is the guy and that's all there is to it. There's always going to be the seed of doubt in the back of our minds that maybe come April, the Falcons are going to draft someone, or hell, even earlier in March, they'll end up going with a quarterback in free agency. So I don't know that Kevin Stefanski, although I'm sure he wants to coach another team and just wipe his slate clean, why would he want Atlanta, especially for that reason alone? Before we get on out of here, make sure that you hit that subscribe button if you are loving what we're doing. By the way, guys, I have to clap it up to you. I really do. We've gained over 900 subscribers since Sunday. In 4 days, we've gained 900 subs. That is amazing. So do me a favor, if you love what we're doing here, hit that sub button. We only need 389 more till we hit 49,000. That's all I got for you. Falcons fans, I'll see you a little bit later with another episode of Falcons Today. Rise up and be cool. $20 super chat from Atlanta.
This is a Grand Limousine.
Oh, it is Grand Limousine. You're right. Hey, guys, I'm unbanned per YouTube. Welcome, Reed, to see you on the Bucks channel. Yeah, I get it. Iger,
are you still fighting?
Fighting what?
Igo, I think, is fighting with
Okay, well, hold on.
Devin Hopkins.
No lack. How do I not know ball? How do I not know ball? I'm very interested to see what he has to say. Thank you, Eli. I'm very interested to see why I don't know ball.
Yeah, and look at what Connor said.
Hey, Moose, you're awesome. Thanks, Connor. I appreciate it, my friend. Thank you. What is CA? Is that Canadian dollars? Oh, nice. What'd you say? Oh, yeah, you're right. I do have to take a sip. You know what's funny? You know what I find absolutely hilarious is that all my biggest haters, whether it be on Falcons or on Broncos, is that the guys that hate me are always on every episode. They come and they comment on every episode. It's like, so you watch me specifically to tell me that I suck? That just helps me.
Hate me or love me, you still watched.
Exactly. That's the Rush Limbaugh approach. Appreciate it. Christian says, Moose, hug me, bro. Here's a virtual hug for you, my friend. What did he say? Nolak said, JLK, I don't know what you want What? Okay. What part of me doesn't know ball, though? I'm kind of curious. Yeah. He won't answer my question. That's the funny part. So. All righty. Yeah, I know. Trae Young got traded to the Washington Wizards. That was terrible. DJ Ray says, is it fair to say that Penix doesn't look that great even though he played under a terrible coaching offensive scheme? I think both can be true at the same time. Like, I thought Penix's development would have come a little bit quicker this year. But I also think that... All right. I know I am getting distracted. I'm watching Nolax sit here and try to convince everyone that I don't know football. Well, I literally talk football for a living, so I kind of know a little bit. Let's talk about Mike McDaniel coming to Atlanta, because I do believe that there's room for him on this coaching staff, just not as a head coach. And I think you obviously know what I'm talking about. It's literally in the pinned poll of today's live show. So we'll touch on why I believe there is room for Mike McDaniel here, but it would not be as a head coach. I do not want him as my head coach. All righty. You ready to do this, producer Reed? New host of Buccaneers Breakdown, Reed? Oh, did you hear that? That was my thumb. Oh, that felt horrible. All right, let's do this. Yep, sure am. Just when you thought the head coaching search couldn't get absolutely any crazier, Adam Schefter drops this bad boy right as we're getting into work this morning. The Miami Dolphins have fired head coach Mike McDaniel, with owner Stephen Ross meeting with McDaniel this week to discuss the season. And after that meeting and reflection, Ross decided to move on, which tells me that something in that meeting did not go the way that he thought it would go. Falcons fans, welcome into Falcons Today by Chat Sports. My name is Moose. By the way, this is getting crazy. Like, I thought when John Harbaugh's news came out that was unbelievable. Now it's getting even crazier, because what this does is it opens up a pathway for Mike McDaniel to be on the Atlanta Falcons coaching staff, but not in the way that you think I'm going to talk about. And of course, when a coach does get hired, any coach, right? If somebody gets fired, once they officially announce that Zach Robinson is gone, which, it's just a matter of like days, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click that little bell notification so you never miss a time that we are scheduled to go live or any time that we post a video. So do yourself and Moose a favor, click that sub button, and let's get it going. All right, so this feels like, to me at least, for the Miami Dolphins, like a move for John Harbaugh. Why on earth would you bring in your coach, talk about everything, and then days later decide, you know what? After 36 to 48 hours of thinking about it, I decided I no longer want you, Mike McDaniel. This clearly has the John Harbaugh scent written all over it. This is Stephen Ross telling you, I've got one shot to land John Harbaugh. I'm going to go all in for it. Because why on earth would they wait this long to fire him? If they really wanted Mike McDaniel gone, they would have done it on that Black Monday. Hell, the Falcons did it on Sunday. The Falcons got rid of Raheem like 6 hours after the game ended. It was insane how quick it was. And then everybody else in the NFL follows suit on either Monday or Tuesday. Why wait till Thursday? Oh, could it have anything to do with the fact that John Harbaugh got released on Tuesday afternoon? Just saying. And like I told you, I've got 4 choices right now for head coach. My top 4 choices are John Harbaugh, Clint Kubiak, Kevin Stefanski, and then Brian Flores. Those are my top 4. Notice you do not see Mike McDaniel's name on this list. Why? I don't want Mike McDaniel for head coach. I don't think he showed enough to be a head coach, and I don't think he should ever be a head coach ever again. I don't. But I also know that Arthur Blank is going all in on John Harbaugh, or at least someone would think that he's going all in on John Harbaugh. He will certainly be a candidate that we would like to spend some time with. Obviously, there's interest from Arthur Blank. Does that mean he's going to get him? Maybe, maybe not. I also know that the New York Giants and the Miami Dolphins seem very interested in getting John Harbaugh. Excuse me. So I'm sure you're wondering, Moose, what does this have to do with Mike McDaniel? Where does he fit in on all of this? Well, I would never be the one to say that I don't want this guy's brilliance and offensive scheme on the Dirty Birds. I just don't think he's a great leader. I mean, think about how many reports we heard this year of the Miami Dolphins players skipping player meetings, coming in late, not taking practice very seriously. It was just nonstop shenanigans down in South Beach. Part of that is because of the climate, the weather, the women, the party scene, but also because I don't think he ran a very tight ship. You need him as your offensive coordinator, someone that is just going to flex his brilliance no matter where it is and doesn't have to worry about managing an entire team. Now, I'm going to tell you what I mean here in just a little bit. Before I do that, though, if you want to support our quarterback one right now, because obviously Kirk Cousins seems to be gone, do it with this link that I put in the comments and description of today's video, chatsports.com/MPJ shirt. If you want to get your Michael Penix Jr. shirt while you can, make sure you use that link that I'll put in the comments and description of today's video and start shopping the very best Atlanta Falcons gear today. I do not want Mike McDaniel for head coach. I will scream it from the mountaintops. He is not head coaching material, not for this team. But does that mean that his football expertise, his acumen, and his mind aren't built for another role on a team? Of course not. But tell me if this sounds familiar at all to you. When he's trailing at the half, it's really hard for him to come back. He's 4-24 as the Dolphins head coach when trailing at the half, so we can really only play with a lead. Quarterbacks other than Tua, he went 4-11 with. So for everybody that was like, it was a Tua problem. Really? Because without Tua, he was also really bad. And he's not good at replay challenges whatsoever. It was almost like he was blind to that area. If you challenged 25 times in a singular season and you only won 4 of them, that's a problem. So coming up, I'm going to tell you about what my plan for Mike McDaniel should be if we were to bring him in Atlanta. You could already probably guess what that area is, because as I stated before, his brilliance when it comes to his football mind is definitely something that will be of value to any team that he ends up joining. And obviously, that means as an offensive coordinator, somebody who's sitting up in the booth, or hell, even like Zach Robinson did after week 3. Maybe you go back down to the field. Maybe you sit there and you talk to MPJ or whatever quarterback you got on staff, and you just work through everything. So I'm sure you're wondering, okay, Moose, well, now we know that Mike McDaniel would make a good offensive coordinator. Why would he be a good offensive coordinator? What about his scheme is built for the Atlanta Falcons to have success? Well, he is one of the best coaches I've seen in recent years when it comes to his pre-snap motion creativity. He's got these unique offensive packages where he'll run like 2 or 3 separate halfback shotgun packages where there's a bunch of pre-snap motion. People are twirling around. There's a lot of behind the line of scrimmage play design. There's a lot of sideline throws over the middle of the throws. And it's definitely built this entire scheme that he's created around your skill players. There's a reason that guys in the NFL talking media heads have all said there's not a lot of grit to the team. It's really built as a finesse. And that's a problem if you're a head coach, because what are you going to do about the defense? But as an offensive coordinator on that side of the ball, you want skill. You want finesse. You want orchestration. You want all of that good stuff that comes with the beauty and kind of the choreography of an offense. You just don't want that for your head coach. You want grit, tenacity, toughness, leadership at head coach. And also, elephant in the room, he's worked with a lefty before. There's a lot of people that were like, Michael Penix Jr. is a bigger Tua. That's stupid. I hate. Just because they're both lefties. They play completely differently. Completely differently. Tua has a weak-ass arm. He throws a powder puff football. And this was evidence in the way that they ran their offense this year. Tua was the main problem in Miami, in my opinion. I do believe that. Was he the entire problem? No. Everybody shares that blame pie. But take a look. In 2025, with Mike McDaniel's brilliance, they only averaged 300 yards per game. That's 26th. 120.2 rushing yards per game. Okay, that's pretty good. That's 13th. So obviously they have a little bit of creativity in the run game with Devon Achane, who's not even close to the running back that Bijan is. But they only averaged 20.4 points per game. That was 25th. So I look at Tua and I say, okay, the fact that you paid Tua as much as you did, the fact that he went 6th overall, he was a great college quarterback, kind of like Bryce Young. Played with a bunch of great players around him, wasn't really built for the NFL as a starter. Maybe as a backup, maybe as a bridge quarterback. But let's just take a look really quickly at the 2025 season numbers. It's almost as if Michael Penix Jr. played a full season. You probably would have been really close to the numbers that Tua was putting up outside of the interceptions. I don't think that Penix would have thrown 15 picks. But he probably would have been right around 20 touchdowns if he would have played the final 8 games. And look at that. Their passer rating, identical. Like literally identical. So I think Penix and Tua being both lefties and Penix having a little bit more pure talent than Tua did coming out of college, I believe that Michael Penix Jr. is a better quarterback. So don't get it twisted. I'm not here blowing smoke up your ass and saying Tua and Michael are the same. No, Penix is better than Tua. Penix is better than Tua. However, I also believe that Mike McDaniel could be deterred because of the Penix situation. He might see too many similarities in Penix and Tua. And if that's the case, then he wouldn't want to come here unless they decided we're going to go after another quarterback. So, if you had to ask me the dream staff in this scenario, if you were like, Moose, pick your roster in like Madden, this would be it. I'd go John Harbaugh as my head coach. I'd have my offensive coordinator as Mike McDaniel. I'd have Jeff Ulbrich as my DC. And I'd make Chris Horton our special teams coordinator, who was the special teams coordinator in Baltimore with John Harbaugh, who is a special teams coach. Let's be completely honest about this. Out of the 96 current units in the NFL, 32 teams, 3 units per team, 95 or 96 was the Atlanta Falcons special teams. The only thing I think you could maybe argue was worse was the Las Vegas Raiders and everything. So, yeah, they were terrible. But this would be my dream staff right here. I'll end today's episode with the, kind of the question that you're probably waiting for. And if you're watching during our live show, get down in the live chat and answer this really quick with either a Y or an N. Yes for no, or yes or no, excuse me. Do you want Mike McDaniel on staff with the Dirty Birds? If it's as an offensive coordinator, I would say hell yes. If it was as a head coach, I'd be saying hell no and no again on Sundays. That's all I got for you on today's episode. A reminder to hit that subscribe button, like today's video, and as always, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool. All right. Trey, looking forward to you staying as the host and sharing your knowledge of the game. Oh, that's pretty cool. Thank you. Appreciate all your takes. Hashtag ball 101. Apparently, though, I don't know ball. But that's neither here nor there. And by the way, he says, Reed, much love, but you're the enemy now. We knew that. It's okay. It's all right. All right, we've got one final segment for you guys here. It's our mailbag that we're going to get into. That's fine. But I appreciate it, Trey. Thank you so much. Well, so for everybody that is wondering why Penix wasn't going under center, right? Everybody was sitting there wondering, why doesn't Penix go under center? And then there's a lot of people that are like, he absolutely can go under center. I saw it all in college. Why would Zach Robinson only run that 0.3% of the time? Zach Robinson might be an idiot, but he's not dumb. He, I'm sure, asked Penix what he's most comfortable with, and Penix would say, I'm more comfortable in the gun. I'm more comfortable in the pistol. And that's a problem. Because if you're a quarterback telling your offensive coordinator that you're more comfortable with not doing something that every NFL quarterback should be able to do, that's an issue.
I was going to say, you said every NFL quarterback. I said a franchise quarterback should be able to go under center, in pistol, in the gun, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Should be able to do what NFL quarterbacks are supposed to do. I don't think Penix is a bad quarterback, but when you're crutched by something that you don't feel comfortable with, maybe he works in that in the offseason, and next year he comes back and he's like, I can go under center. I feel better about it. And it's like working on a three-point shot in the offseason, and then you bring it out in the next season. So I don't know.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. My biggest issue is that there is clearly an elephant in the room that nobody wants to admit. And the elephant is that if Penix is not comfortable inside of or under center, that eliminates half of a playbook completely. Because what are we seeing more and more of now in 2025, especially with the Kyle Shanahan run offenses, Sean McVay ran offenses, Ben Johnson ran offenses? They all utilize heavy under center, all of them. In fact, did you know that I want to say it's out of like 12 out of the 14 teams that are in the playoffs currently, I think those 12 are currently in the top 15 in like offenses that play under center. It is a integral part of success in your offensive strategy because the play action works so well. You can't do play action really. You can do a play fake in the gun, but play action is so much better utilized when you're under center.
I was going to say, I think it's a choice between Penix and Zach Robinson. You want to keep Zach Robinson and bring in a different quarterback.
No.
Then you can do that.
No.
Or you keep Penix and you bring a new OC in to try and mold Penix a little bit better. Because if you're like, they got to get rid of Zach Robinson soon because you need to start working with your quarterback in the offseason. If you think he's not, like, we're obviously not in the building. None of us are. But you look at the stats and 0.3% he's under center, and then Kirk Cousins is like, why? We still don't know the why. Is it, Penix literally can't? Or is it he just doesn't feel comfortable? And and then that falls on Zach Robinson of then work with him to make him feel comfortable develop him to make him feel comfortable under center if that's your offense.
Which is why I said
Michael Penix said he had no help.
Well, which is why I said months ago. This is not just a Penix problem. This is not just a Zach Robinson. This is they don't work well together. Because if I were to come in and do this job, I'll take you as a perfect example here. If my job was to teach you, now that you're doing your own channel, if my job was to develop you behind the camera and you kept telling me, or in front of the camera, excuse me, if you were like, I'm not comfortable going in front of the camera, and I was like, that's fine, we'll just keep you as a producer and you could do all your videos from the producer cam, and your video suffered for it, that would be partially on me because I'm not teaching you how to be more comfortable on camera. Yep. So it works for a lot of different situations. So Penix needs to say, I need to learn how to do this in order to become a successful version of whatever quarterback I want to be. And Zach Robinson should have been the one to say, this is going to be something that we focus on nonstop.
It feels like training wheels. That's what it feels like.
It does,
You got to get on the bike. And honestly, if the NFL, it's a motorcycle. And Penix is very happy hanging out on his little bike with
training wheels. Yeah.
And it's like, that's not really working. You got to get on the motorcycle.
Well, and look, as soon as Penix leaves, as soon as he gets injured, Kirk steps in, and Kirk is now under center a ton. I saw a stat, and I have it. I had it in one of my episodes. Penix ran at 0.3% of the time. Not even 0.5% of the time was he under center. Kirk was operating at like 19%. So, I mean, it's still not a lot, but it's way better than 0.3. So, I just think we're
Ty. That's a good point. Ty said, in my opinion, Penix shouldn't even need to ask that. If you're employed as a coach as a coach in the NFL and you're focused on how comfortable your players are, you shouldn't be in the NFL. That's a great point. If Zach Robinson is like, oh, you don't feel comfortable doing that? Okay, we won't do that. We'll just stick in the pistol or stick in the gun and you know, maybe it won't be the best offense, but hey, as long as you're comfortable. That's the wrong answer.
You know what's funny is that we've got a Moose hater in the chat. His name is Quiz George, and Quiz George has gotten on so many different podcast episodes and said, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Raheem's going to be back next year. Mark my words. This guy's a fucking idiot. Kept telling me that all the time. And look at him now. Wrong again. So thanks, Quiz, for watching.
All right.
Let's jump into our mailbag. How many questions do we have, by the way? Do we have a... Oh, yeah, nice. Not to jump too far ahead, but schedule is looking kind of rough next year. We don't have the schedule. We have our opponents. Oh, gotcha. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. 26 opponents. And I am dumb as hell. You are welcome, Moose. Welcome for what? What am I thankful for? For you being wrong? Oh, yeah. That's right. I did say that. I did say that. All right. Let's take a look here. All right. Away, we've got the Panthers, obviously Saints, Bucks. Ooh, Packers, Vikings. But the Vikings will be without Brian Flores. He's going to take a job, so that defense gets a lot less scary. The Browns, they stink. Pittsburgh, I don't think, is going to be very good next year. They're looking for a quarterback, and the Commanders stink. So that's not a horrible away schedule. What about home? Bears, okay, tough. Lions, tough. Ravens, shit, tough. Bengals could be tough. 49ers, and Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, no, it does. That is, yeah, that's tough. Damn. JK, you're on that because that's a gauntlet. Which means I'll tell you this. This is what this tells me. You've got to be even more diligent in your divisional games. You cannot afford to get swept by any of your divisional opponents at all. All right, we're good on questions. All right, let's jump into it. Let's jump into it.
If you guys want to get any, if you're like, I really have an important question and I need it to get up on there, send a $2 super chat, $5 super chat. You'll skip the line and you'll get Moose's answer for you.
All righty, let's do this. Leroy Jenkins. You remember that? I'm surprised you do know that. Oh, you're not that much younger than me. What are you, 27? Are you 27 or are you 26? You're 24? Jesus. When did you turn 24?
I turned 25.
Okay, so you're only 5 years younger than me. Okay, I thought you might have been 6. I was like, dude. So you didn't, when did you graduate high school? I'm going to guess, 2018?
No, one more year.
2019?
2019.
Dude, I graduated college in 2018.
Yeah. That's how time and ages work. But to be fair, though, I have 2 older siblings.
Yes.
So I grew up like doing things that they did. So my sister is 28.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
Yeah, she's 4 years older than me.
So you grew up with a lot of the same stuff. Like my
Yes.
brother is 1 year younger than you, and he knows a lot of the stuff that like my age group identifies with because he would watch all the stuff that I was watching.
Yeah, like I there's a lot of stuff that like, Gen Z or whatever,
Yes.
that I still have. But I mean, you could talk about like stuff that my sister would watch or like my brother, like Bob the Builder. I watched that like as a kid, like growing up. But I actually watched a lot of sports growing up.
I like it. I like it. I like it. All right, let's jump into our mailbag cut here. Yeah. My carpal tunnel seems to be acting up. My wrist is killing me. Welcome in, Falcons fans, to our Falcons Today mailbag edition. We're live currently on the channel at 4. Actually, it's a little bit after 4 o'clock Central Time here on a Thursday. And obviously, this is the first mailbag that we have done since Raheem and Terry have gotten fired. So if you want your questions answered, make sure you put hashtag Falcons, and maybe you'll get featured in the next Atlanta Falcons episode, our mailbag episode. Speaking of which, $5 super chat coming in from our guy Alex Watkins. My top choices for head coach are Harbaugh, and then offensive coordinator is Mike McDaniel. See, here's the thing. My dream scenario in this case is Harbaugh as the head coach and Mike McDaniel is the OC. It probably won't happen. Beggars can't be choosers in this case. But I will admit that the thought of having Harbaugh as the head coach and Mike McDaniel with his creativity pre-snap is very, very enticing. I think it would make a great, great combo of the two. Plus, Harbaugh's a little bit older, a little bit more grizzled and like veteran-like. And then Mike McDaniel's the young, nerdy, kind of like I vape on the sidelines sort of deal. So I think they would work kind of well as opposites there. But thank you for your $5 super chat. Buck Naked, that's a cool name. With Kirk's restructuring, what free agents are we going after? Ooh, good question. So the first thing that I'll say about this is I think it all comes down to the coach, because free agents you can't really start to kind of get into until you know what your new coach likes and prefers. Obviously, some coaches are going to be more defensive-centric. Some coaches are going to be more offensive-centric. So you can't really decide what kind of, free agents you want until you know exactly what your plan is, which is why it's so important to know exactly what guy you're going to bring in to lead these group of men. But if we were just going to go very baseline, if you were like, Moose, pick 5 targets that you really want next year. Here's 5 that I can give you right now off the bat. Alec Pierce, Wan'Dale Robinson, DJ Reader from the Lions, who's actually an unrestricted free agent, Nashawn Wright, cornerback for the Chicago Bears, and David Njoku from the Cleveland Browns, I think would make it a nice addition alongside Kyle Pitts if you moved him out wide. There is one name, though, on this list that I do believe is probably more talented than everybody on the list, not combined, but just kind of stands out to me, and that's Colts wide receiver Alec Pierce. 47 receptions this year for 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Get this, back-to-back seasons at the very top in terms of yards per reception. That is unbelievable to think about. And I'll just be the first one to say it. He's white. That's crazy to think about. But if you look at his numbers this year, this is one of the best seasons that he's put up as a wide receiver in the league. 84 targets. 47 receptions. It's kind of a lower receiving to target ratio only because he does run such large routes. Like, he is a deep ball wide receiver, guys. He's not going to be the kind that goes out for a 5-yard drag. It's just not his game. But take a look at that receiving average, 21.3 yards per reception. That's unbelievable. This year, by the way, he ranked second in yards per reception. And last year, he was first in yards per reception. But there's a little bit of a caveat to this stat right here. The guy that was number one in the stat this year was a player that played half the snaps that Alec Pierce did. So if you were going by the amount of snaps taken, he's number one in 2024 and in 2025. I'm going to ask you really quick to put a free agent target that you would like on the Falcons down in the live chat or in the comments and description of today's video. We're going to continue on with the questions now. Before we do that, I got to tell you about my friends over at Poly Market. It's time to challenge the status quo, and Poly Market is now live to help us do so. You can be a part of the revolutionary alternative to sportsbooks with our special invite code. Download Poly Market's new app now via the special link that is in the description and the comments to unlock exclusive early access and a free $10 in your account with invite code chat. That is invite code chat. Now, as you can see currently to my right, this is what the app looks like in real time. Super user-friendly and absolutely makes watching the game that much more effective and fun. Poly Market is a prediction marketplace that lets you make trades on the outcomes of sporting events. It's legal and available nationwide in 50 states on their brand new iOS app now. Poly Market has the lowest fees ever, and you can trade against other people, not the platform, and you can cash out anytime and react to momentum swings within the game. You are in control. $10 free is waiting for you. No card, no deposit, nothing. Download the app and unlock $10 free through the link, chatsports.com/polymarket, and invite code chat. Obviously, Rams, Carolina. I'm taking the Rams on this one because no NFC South team outside of the Falcons is actually worth that. $10 free is waiting for you. No card, no deposit, nothing. Download the app with our exclusive code chat at chatsports.com/polymarket for exclusive early access and $10 free. Coming in with the next question is our guy, KJ. Thoughts about Matt LaFleur as head coach or his brother Mike? If the Packers keep him, I would like to see McDaniel as OC and keep Ulbrich as DC. All right, I'll answer the second part of this question first and jump back up to this one. I would love Mike McDaniel as OC, and Ulbrich as DC would be very, very good as well. I just don't know that a new coach is going to come in and want to retain Jeff Ulbrich, but in a dream scenario, yes, McDaniel as OC, and you would keep Ulbrich as DC. My dream staff, by the way, does look like this. This is what I want. John Harbaugh as the head coach, Mike McDaniel as OC, Ulbrich as DC. And then Chris Horton, the special teams coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. I would like him to come alongside with John Harbaugh back into Atlanta. Going back to the first part of your question, though, thoughts about Matt LaFleur. The only way I could see the Packers firing him is if they get absolutely embarrassed this Saturday against the Chicago Bears. That's really the only scenario in which I see it happening. Unfortunately, LaFleur has done just enough every single year. By the way, fun fact, did you know that in the last 4 seasons that the Packers have made the playoffs, they've been the 7 seed? So if the expansion doesn't happen, the Packers miss the playoffs every single year. Just fun fact there for you. Donovan coming in with a $10 super chat. Moose, how you feeling, man? I'm doing a lot better today. I've got a really bad raging headache that kind of, comes in and out. But also, why is Zach still here? What are your thoughts on Matt Ryan on being president of football operations? Zach is still here based off of technicality because they haven't hired a new coach. Trust me, as soon as that new coach is hired, Zach's out of the building. Like, he's done. That entire coaching staff is gone. They will not be in Atlanta anymore unless the new coaching staff decides to keep him. And do you think any offensive-minded head coach is going to keep Zach Robinson? Hell, if Brian Flores gets hired, it's not going to be Zach Robinson. It's just ridiculous. So, Matty Ice, great football mind, somebody that I absolutely believe deserves a shot to flex what kind of football mind he has to get this organization back on track. I'm really excited to see where he's going to go. Dossier Gaming. 1 out of 10, how optimistic are you after the press conference, talking about Arthur Blank's press conference? I'm going to say 7.5, 8. I think he answered all the questions that he needed to in a way that he was supposed to. Nothing really blew me out of the water, but nothing really deterred me either. I thought it was a pretty good press conference. I give him a solid B on it. So I'm going to say a 7.5 or an 8 right now in my confidence in Arthur Blank. How do you think our offseason and free agency goes? Again, it depends on what kind of coach you have, but I do believe they're going to be ultra aggressive in free agency. I mean, you don't restructure Kirk Cousins' contract in order to not be aggressive in free agency. Hell, you pushed that cap hit all the way to 2027. That's $67.9 million. spread out with a couple of years as well. But you get my point, is if you restructure Kirk's deal, it's because you want to clear up some of that money, $33 million of that money, so that you could go out and get some more free agents, somebody that you can add to the top of this organization and get a little bit of extra talent in there. Needle, $20 super chat. This is the most recent one, by the way. This just came in. All I'm going to say is that people don't realize the type of teams that Penix went up against. He had to play against the 49ers, the Patriots, the Bills, the fully healthy Colts, and the red-hot Bucks. Despite all of that, he put up 10 total touchdowns and just 3 interceptions. Well, the back half of that part is not very great. He had 9 touchdowns in 9 games. That's not very good. The 3 interceptions is fine. I will give you credit for this, though, Needle. Penix is a gamer. Like, I think he's an ultimate competitor. I think he wants to win. I think he's got the chutzpah to play quarterback in the NFL. The question is, does he have not the talent. The talent's the wrong word here. Sustainability to play as an NFL quarterback. How are his knees? How is his body going to hold up? Every single person that is a Penix lover all says the exact same thing. You got to give him time to develop. But none of them address the elephant in the room, which is, does his body allow him to hold up? 5 season-ending surgeries in 8 years. That's an injury-prone player. Trey, do you think D. Alford? I do think he's done enough to stay, Trey, not as a starter, as a rotational piece. Kind of the role that he's in right now. I think D. Alford would make an excellent rotational corner. Starting, he gets burnt way too much. Same with Mike Hughes. I think Mike Hughes needs to leave. I get rid of Mike Hughes. I'd probably keep D, but I would give Kobe Bryant the chance to show what he's got next year. I think Kobe's got a lot of physical traits that I absolutely love. His hips are super fluid. He's aggressive in his tackling. He's really fast at closing out. He's really, really productive as a corner. He just needs time to kind of see the best talent in the NFL and adjust accordingly. Dave S., and then we'll get on out of here. One more after this? Okay, cool. What would you think about this staff head coach Clint Kubiak? I like it. You lost me already. Stefanski is the OC. Stefanski's not taking an offensive coordinator job. Sorry. He's just not. Schwartz as a defensive coordinator is not a bad one. A first-time head coach with coordinators with head coaching experience. It won't happen. I promise you. Kevin Stefanski will not take a job under a guy that has no head coaching experience. He's been a head coach now for 6 years. That's what people don't want to admit. They always want to think that former head coaches will end up taking a offensive coordinator job, and that's true of younger coaches and younger coordinators, especially if they only are there for like 2 to 3 years. Because Stefanski's been a head coach for 6 years. He's not going to be an offensive coordinator anywhere. He just won't. Will White. Yes, but you got to make an offer he can't refuse. You got to pay him like $16 or $17 million a year. And I would. I'd pay him everything that he's worth. The highest paid coach in the NFL right now is Andy Reid, followed by Sean Payton. Reid makes $18 million a year. Sean makes $17. You'd have to pay John Harbaugh, excuse me. You'd have to pay John Harbaugh like $17 million. But Arthur Blank did say that he would be a candidate they'd like to spend some time with. So there is reports going around that the Falcons are increasingly interested in getting John Harbaugh. Either way, it's making for a very exciting time to be an Atlanta Falcons fan. I know that. And if you're excited for this 2026 season, do me a favor, get down to the comment section. Type your Y for yes, type your N for no. That's all I got for you, Falcons fans, on this episode of Falcons Today. A reminder to hit that subscribe button, like today's video. As always, rise up and be cool. Booyah! We did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Yeah. Now we see Mo. I know.
Conrad, I do not make $20 million. I wish, though.
I would. If I was making $20 million, I wouldn't be working.
He said Reed, and that's how you spell my name. So.
Oh. Maybe he does make $20 million. I knew it was right around there. Dat one Falcons fan. Ideal 2026 staff: Clint Kubiak, Mike McDaniel as OC, Albrick as DC, special teams, anybody. GM Ian Cunningham, and PFO Matty Ice. I like everything except for, well, no, I actually kind of like this whole thing.
Conrad, I was
like
messing with you.
I kind of like
it was
this whole
Andy
thing.
Reid.
I kind of like this whole thing. I do. I don't have any problem. If this is what you told me the coaching staff was going to look like, I'd be okay with it. I'd be okay with it. Time man. Did you hear that? It was my knee. I've got all the cracks going on today. I've got all the cracks. All right. Do you want to make one final deal before we get out of here? What do you think about a shotgun race for a $50 super chat? Would you do it? Would you do it? All right.
Yeah,
cool.
Sure. It'll loosen me up. For
How about this?
It'll loosen me up for my next my Bucks video. Today.
How about this? One final super chat. Excuse me. Blah, 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 blah. Take two. One final shotgun race here on Falcons Today. Moose versus Reed. You've beaten me every time. I think I can do it this time.
I will say, I do not know if we have enough beer.
We should have plenty of Miller Lite, don't we? No?
Not really, no. That was like the last two in that fridge, and then I don't think we have anything in the other fridge. I can check if it happens.
All right, cool.
But
I'll give them another 5 minutes, and then we'll log off. Oh, what a day it's been. What a week it's been. I'm excited for tonight. They just got to 54K subs. Yeah, we do need to beat Aints now. You're right. You are right. Father, food, YT. Assuming we hire Clint Kubiak as our head coach, do you think Mike McDaniel would join the Falcons as an OC, considering he probably wouldn't be the play caller? Yeah, I think he could. Although I do think that if you gave him the choice of calling plays somewhere and not calling plays, he'd probably want to call plays. He is a genius. He is a genius. I'll give him full. The way he designs his offense is brilliant. It's just he's not head coach material. It's just the way it is. There's so much more that goes into being a head coach other than just being a really good scheme guy. You got to be a leader. Can we keep Algier and Pitts after the restructuring? You can. You absolutely can. I would franchise tag Kyle Pitts. I'm franchising. I would franchise him tomorrow if I could. The good news about that is he gets paid $15 million a year if you franchise tag him. Because he's making $8 million right now. So you'd be making $12.5 million on a franchise tag, which still puts him in the top 5 for highest paid tight ends. Yeah, I think I would franchise tag Pitts and I'd re-sign Algier. I think that Tyler Algier is a great player. I really do. What is our obsession with Stetson Bennett, guys?
He's a good like compliment to Bijan. Like when you need to give Bijan a break, Tyler Algier is perfect.
Yes.
Because he just plays north and south.
Well, yeah, he just bullies you. There's no doubt about it.
It's your boy Izzy. I don't know. McDaniel, he doesn't have a good track record. Oh, well, he deleted the message, but I think he'll get head coach interviews, but with guys like Harbaugh, Flores, and like Minter and Clint Kubiak, like those are all guys that are just gonna get jobs over him.
Yeah.
And I think he'll get interviews places, but I think he he might have to settle on OC somewhere.
What is the obsession with Stetson Bennett?
He stinks.
Guys,
It's Georgia.
I get it, right? Like, but I'm a huge Notre Dame fan, diehard Notre Dame fan. I don't want Ian Book as my starting quarterback. I don't want Deshaun Kaiser as my starting quarterback. I don't want Riley Leonard as my starting quarterback. They can be great college players. Stetson Bennett got benched behind, Matt Stafford, Hall of Famer. Jimmy Garoppolo. he got replaced by Jimmy G. Like, come on. Stetson Bennett is ass in the NFL. He might have been a good college quarterback. But just because he went to Georgia, man, does not mean that he's ready to take on the Atlanta Falcons, man. Come on.
The Panthers are not making a Super Bowl run. Carolina Real, unfortunately. I have a feeling that you probably like the Panthers because your name is Carolina Real. I do not believe they will make. They might stun the world, and who they play, the Rams?
Yeah, they're gonna get fucking tossed. They're gonna get tossed.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be close. Matt.
They might stun the Rams, but I don't think so.
The Carolina Panthers stink. I'm sorry. I don't think they're good at all. They're good against the Falcons. They're great against the Falcons. They're not a good team. They're better than I thought they'd be this year. But guys, they made the playoffs at 8-9. Like, stop. It's not good.
He said Cam Newton, the keep pounding drummer. Yeah, that might get you an extra touchdown, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Do you think Notre Dame has a shot of going back to the Natty next year? Probably not. I'm going to say no only because we don't have Jeremiah Love and we don't have Jadarian Price anymore. Two of the best backs in the entire landscape of college football. And our third stringer is decent, but he's not even close to the running back that those two were. Now, granted, C.J. Carr is and probably will be the number one pick in next year's draft. He's unbelievable. No, I did not forget the Panthers already beat the Rams this year, but I can promise you it's no.
Guys, it's really hard to beat a team twice in a row.
Moose, Falcons were if the Falcons were playing the Rams in the wild card, who would you take? I'd take the Rams, but I think it'd be very close. It's going to be a hell of a lot closer than you're talking about this year's Falcons, right? Like, I mean, I know they already beat them, but I don't know. It's close. It's close. All righty, that's all we got. Let's take on out of here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I'm going to be back tomorrow with more stuff coming your way. As always, Falcons fans, rise up and be cool.